Hey guys, my name is Toby and welcome back to another very exciting Photoshop tutorial where today we're going to be talking about how to fix your blurry photos, which is not normally something that you can do. However, the very clever people who work at Adobe have come up with a very elegant solution to this impossible problem. And I just want to say that despite that somewhat glorified intro, this is not the ultimate fix-all to every blurry photo you've ever taken, so just want to make that very clear that this is not something that you should rely on at all. If you're out shooting and you kind of notice on the back of the camera that you've taken a shot that isn't as sharp as you'd like it to be, you should absolutely take it again if you can. This is kind of for those last-ditch attempts where you're back home and you're going through the editing and there's a shot that you really needed and you couldn't take again and desperately need to try and save it, and then maybe this would work. But even then, it will only work on one very specific type of blur. This is not going to solve every instance. And there are a few reasons why your photos might not be 100% sharp. So the first of which is that it's out of focus. So here you can see that the subject is not sharp at all, but there is a bit behind him here that is, and that's just because we've missed focus, and sadly there's nothing that can be done to fix this shot. That one is one for the bin. The next type of blur that it won't fix is that in this instance we've got our sharp area of the floor here, which is in line with our subject, but the subject is moving too quickly. So in this instance, should have used the faster shutter speed and we just didn't get him. So this one again can't be fixed. Now the one that can be fixed is where you've used a shutter speed that's just a little bit too slow and the camera has actually picked up a little bit of shake from your hands, so the whole picture is going to be a little bit soft, and arguably this is definitely not as soft or as out of focus as the other two, but if we zoom in here you can see that this isn't 100% sharp. And what this tool will let you do is just kind of fix things a bit like this. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So first of all, just so that I can toggle this on and off and sort of show you guys a before and after, I'm just going to duplicate this layer and press Command J. So now we have a copy of our layer, and we're going to go to Filter, Sharpen, Shake Reduction. And as the name implies, this is going to reduce the camera shake. Now, if you can't see this little box that's popped up, if you drop down this Advanced tab here, that will kind of hide and show that. But this is basically picking an area that the photo is, or Photoshop is going to analyze to try and remove this shake. And as we can kind of see, if we scroll up here just a little bit, when I click and hold, that's the before, and when you let go, that's the after. So that's already done a fantastic job of sharpening this image. But we do have a few settings here that you may or may not want to play with. Blur trace bounds. This is basically saying how big is the blur that you're trying to remove, and you know, Photoshop will kind of try to automatically guess this. It kind of auto picks an area to analyze from, and then it will get those settings based off of that. But we can make this bigger, and a lot of the time this might actually ruin your photo. So this is trying to analyze for a pixel or a blur that's 100 pixels in size, so that might be too big. It's going to try and overcompensate in a lot of areas. Equally, if you go too small, it's not going to do enough. If you want to think of this like an amount slider, so there you can see it's actually added in, there's like a second line that's starting to appear there now. So I think it had 46 as this amount it selected, which I think is pretty good. That's done a really fairly reasonable job of sharpening all that up. The next option you have is smoothing. Oh, by the way, you can change your source noise, but again, this generally does a pretty good job of it, so I'd leave it on auto. Smoothing, if you want to think of this like a detail slider, but in reverse, so the lower you have this, the more detail you're going to get, but it will also kind of start to bring in a lot more noise. So if you have this up really high, you're going to not really get any detail at all. So, you know, play with this until it's kind of somewhere you're happy with for the shot. And then artifact suppression. So this is actually quite a good image to do this on, but sometimes when you do this, you will get horrific looking artifacts from where it's made a complete mess of it, and it looks awful. And a lot of the time you can just bring this up and it's going to get rid of some of them. Again, you don't want to put this too high because it's going to start to smudge out details that you want to keep, but this is one to be aware of. Equally, if you put this too low, you might start to see is a lot of noise sort of creeping into the image, and it appears as noise, but if you just bring this up a little bit, it's just going to get rid of a few of these dots. But hopefully just from that little preview window there, you can already see, as I sort of click and release, how much sharper this has made this. Maybe we'll just bring the smoothing up a little bit, because that's bringing in quite a lot of noise there. So I think that's doing a really wonderful job. Now, I should stress that you can actually add multiple regions for it to select from. But I generally find this actually just makes it worse. And you can, drag these about. And I've got 3 of them now, and you can resize them. And in theory, you'd think, oh, well, if I have more of them, it gives Photoshop sort of more areas to kind of sample from, and it should be more accurate. In practice, though, I found that this kind of confuses Photoshop. Generally, just using one works pretty well, and just making it smaller or larger can actually help. But I think we're going to just stick with the automatic settings here that it's done for us, with the exception of what I played around with up here, because that's done a really wonderful job of sorting that out, I think. One other thing you could do, it's often worth moving this box to the most important part of your image, and that's because it uses the area in here as the kind of point that it will adjust everything else by. So if we could put it on his face had it not done such a wonderful job here, but if you're just trying to sharpen a very specific part of your shot, put this box on the most important space and it should do a pretty good job of that. So now that we're quite happy with how that looks, I'm just going to hit OK. And this plugin is now going to hopefully apply that. I was kind of expecting a big box to come up here because it normally does that, but it does appear to have actually done it without a load time. This is quite an intensive plugin, by the way. I don't know if you picked up my computer's fans going a little bit crazy in the background there while I was running that. So do be aware of that. It might take a little while to render out. I'm on quite a fast machine though, so it does appear to have done it quite quickly for some reason this time. But if we just zoom in here, we can kind of see a before where it is genuinely a lot softer, and an after, where now we're even getting details like there's little bits of hair and stuff on him, which I hadn't seen before. I mean, it's like you barely even know that was there in the original, and it's brought back in all this detail that just wasn't there before, and now it is. And now you can treat this like any other shot. This isn't quite the same as just sharpening it. Just sharpening a blurry photo is not going to fix it. The analogy that I've heard for this is, trying to sharpen a blurry photo is like trying to wash a broken window. It's not going to do anything, so you have to fix the window before you can sharpen it. But hopefully that's going to help some people. It's kind of one of these, like, in the right situation, this is a brilliant tool to use, but it's not one you should, it's not going to be a go-to tool every single time. But again, useful thing to know about, so hopefully that's good for you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.